The following contest is a submission match. On the way to the ring, from Toronto, Canada, Trish Stratus. And the opponent, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Candice Michelle.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another sold-out Raw event from Portland, Oregon.
Well, it's been too long since Raw has come to Portland, JR. These fans are going crazy. I think I know who's going to win this one, JR.
Oh, really? Enlighten us, King.
Wait a second. Why are you so eager to hear my prediction?
Because I want to know who's going to win. And 9 times out of 10, it's not the superstar you pick.
It looks like they've slowed the match down a little. And I think that's some good strategy right there.
It certainly is. I'm sure they're well acquainted with the old expression, fools rush in.
Is that why you always seem to be in such a hurry, JR?
I think I've eaten a little too much good Oklahoma barbecue in my day, King, to hurry anywhere. Excellent counter. What ring presence. This is a classic matchup, King. I'm so glad the WWE fans are getting the chance to see it.
Yeah, and I'm happy that I'm getting to see it too, JR. I just wish they'd pick up the pace a little.
Oh, no. This is classic old-school wrestling at its finest. You, of all people, should be able to appreciate that, King.
Wait a minute, JR. You're not trying to say that I'm old, are you?
Of course not, King. Although there was that rumor going around about your Social Security number was 1. What a reversal.
What a counter! Well, from the looks of things, it's not hard to tell how this one's going to go.
What are you talking about, King? I think this is still an extremely competitive match that could go either way.
You know, JR, it's obvious that the only exercise you get is stretching the truth or jumping to conclusions.
Well, judging from the shape I'm in, I don't appear to be doing too much of either, King. You're looking pretty fit, though, I must say. I'll tell you, King, sometimes I get exhausted just watching these superstars compete.
I know what you mean, JR. I don't think most people appreciate what incredible athletes...
Look at this! Look at this! You talk about a house of fire, you're seeing it right here!
Yeah? Well, somebody better put out that fire, or this one's not going to end well.
This Orchestra crowd is solidly behind their superstar. Look at this!
Wow! Could you be any more biased?
What a submission hold! Could this be a tap out?
It is if the hold can't be broken. You can't take this kind of pain for long. Look at this, JR. Can you imagine Smackdown putting on a match half as good as this?
No disrespect intended for our Smackdown colleagues, but no, I can't, King. I truly believe Raw is the dominant brand in sports entertainment.
And you hit the nail right on the head there, JR. The dominant brand. Not the slightly better brand or the sort of superior brand.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy. This is getting nasty, JR.
That's for sure, King. These superstars will stop at nothing to obliterate each other right here tonight.
I don't care how you feel about this superstar, JR. Nobody should have to go through this.
It's painful just watching it, King.
I don't think these superstars have any intention of taking it easy on each other tonight.
That's not what they signed up for, King. And quite frankly, I think these fans would be disappointed if they didn't go all out.
That's easy for the fans to say. They've never set foot inside that ring.
No, but they spend their hard-earned dollars to watch what goes on inside it. And without it, we'll all be out of a job. Well, you can't ever accuse the WWE fans of being shy about saying what's on their minds.
You sure can, JR, and I don't think we'd have it any other way. You talk about ruthless aggression. Look at the way these superstars have been going after each other.
They're not playing with kid gloves, that's for sure.
We knew we were going to see a heck of a match, but this might turn out to be... No, go ahead and say it, JR.
All right, I will. I think this one's got all the makings of a bona fide slobber knocker. A textbook reversal there.
Can you believe we actually get paid? Oh, man. I've been in this hole before, JR. This brings back some bad memories.
I can understand why, King. I can't even imagine the pain being inflicted here.
Oh, man. That's going to change the tone of this match, JR.
Yeah, and not for the better either. I wish the ref would act.
Wow. Stealing your opponent's finishing move definitely sends a message.
Sounds like this crowd's got something on their minds, King.
Who cares about them, JR? Look what
The submission is locked in. This could be huge.
Oh, my gosh, JR. You can't go long without tapping out to this. You know,
And there's the submission. There might not be any way out of it.
there better be, but we're going to see a tap out right here.
These superstars are...
Wow, there's a hole you don't want to find yourself in, JR.
You sure don't, King. We've seen many a superstar tap out to this one.
You got to respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what true happiness is until he's married. And then it's too late.
This capacity crowd is making their opinions known tonight.
They sure are, JR, and I love to hear it. I gotta say, JR, I'm really impressed by what we've seen here tonight.
How could you not be, King? These are some of the finest athletes in all of sports entertainment.
I know that, JR. I'm just saying that this has been a great match so far.
It has.
And submission is locked in, JR, and this is a tough hold to break.
It sure is, King. And even if you break the hold, it takes its toll on you.
These superstars are putting on a great match so far, JR. But if they drop the ball, these fans will let them hear about it.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. Oh, boy. The adrenaline is pumping. I think this could be the beginning of the end.
No, it can't end like this. Come on, do something quick. JR's not going to be happy about this one, folks. I think one of his favorites is going to get beat like the proverbial government mule.
I'm not playing favorites, King. I might have issues with certain superstars as human beings, but I respect their in-ring abilities nonetheless.
JR, you're so full of it that you've got diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. I'd ask you who you want to win this matchup, JR, but it's been pretty obvious since the start of the show who you're pulling for.
I'm trying to remain as objective as I can, King. Quite frankly, I'd rather see a good competitive matchup than see a particular superstar win or lose this thing.
Oh, come on. Everyone knows you play favorites. You're always trying to kiss up to the fans by talking up whoever they're cheering for.
I've never been a kiss-up.
Oh, no! This is terrible! You can't let your opponent build this kind of momentum!
Well, all I can say is someone's been eating their vitamins and saying their prayers.
Uh-oh! Talk about a hole you don't want to find yourself in.
No kidding! This'll rearrange your anatomy. Oh, boy, this is not going to be an easy hole to escape from.
It sure isn't, JR. I've been on the wrong end of that one many times.
I've got a feeling that this has all the makings of an instant classic.
That's probably just gas, JR.
Well, I did have some good old Oklahoma barbecue before the night show, but I don't think that's it. I think this crowd has decided to exercise the right of free speech.
God bless the First Amendment, JR.
If one of these superstars starts to build momentum, it could be the beginning of the end of this match.
That's right, JR. You don't see a lot of matches won with one or two big moves.
You sure don't. You've got to lay the groundwork first.
These superstars sure aren't going easy on each other here tonight.
What do you expect, King? This isn't ballet, you know.
Oh, really, JR? Gosh, tell me more about your in-ring experience.
Well, I've got a pinfall victory over Triple H to my credit. How about you?
Boy, it's obvious these superstars have done their homework on each other.
They sure have, and this is one hell of an exam.
Let's hope it's not their final exam, JR. I'd love to see them go at it again.
Well, if I think the fans have their way, you'll get your wish, King. So, King, any predictions about the outcome of this match?
Oh, no. I don't care how tough you are, JR. No one can take this kind of pain for long.
You're absolutely right, King. We've seen many superstars tap out of this very hole.
If any superstar shows the slightest hint of weakness, they've lost the match.
That's for sure. No matter how beat up you are, you can't ever let your opponent know the extent of your injury.
And that's easier said than done, JR. The human body can only absorb so much punishment. I'm not sure I agree with what the crowd is chanting, JR, but I guess it's their right.
You're damn right it is. It comes from the price of admission.
Yes, that was an incredible move. What strategy?
Strategy, my Oklahoma ass. That's cheap, plain and simple. Did you see that? Ring the damn bell. You can't let somebody get away with that.
I don't think the ref saw it, JR. And if the ref doesn't see it, it's not illegal. Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete? Oh boy, this won't do you any favors.
It certainly doesn't, King. A flurry of ups and blows raining down upon this defenseless superstar.
I think I know who's going to win this match, but I don't want to say. I'm afraid I'll jinx it.
Come on, King. Don't tell me you're superstitious.
Of course not, JR.
Would you look at that? A blatantly illegal maneuver. That should be a disqualification. Here it comes. I think this crowd's giving these superstars a piece of their minds, King.
Are you sure they can afford it, JR?
The submission has been expertly applied, and now it's just a matter of time.
That's right, JR. You've either got to break the hold or get broken by it.
This match is going to continue until someone's completely debilitated. And considering the resiliency of these superstars, that's not going to be easy.
That's for sure. No one in this match is going down without a fight.
And I wouldn't expect any less from them, King. Like them or not, you've got to respect the tenacity of each and every WWE superstar.
So, JR, are you enjoying the match so far?
Yes, I am. I think these superstars are putting on one hell of an exhibition here tonight.
What's your favorite part of it so far?
I don't think it's happened yet. My favorite part of the match will be when you quit yapping and let me enjoy it.
Now, JR. Keep your words soft and sweet because you may have to eat them all. Listen to the crowd, JR. I think they've got something to say to these superstars.
And if they're smart.
Climbing up the turnbuckle isn't bad. It's all the ways you can come down that hurt. I think it's pretty obvious which way this one's going to go, JR.
Well, from my perspective, this is still in. Oh, man, I think we're about to see a high-risk move here. This is Raw action at its finest. That's why Raw is the #1 brand of sports entertainment.
You got that right, JR. You're not going to see this kind of action on SmackDown.
Not on SmackDown or anywhere else. There's nothing else out there that can come close to the excitement of seeing the Raw superstars perform live.
I think we're going to find out just how much punishment the human body can withstand here tonight.
I think you're right, King. These superstars seem intent on taking each other to the limit.
I love that attitude, JR. Go big or go home.
Well, these superstars sure aren't going home until this match is settled once and for all. No! No! How can the referee allow something like this?
Come on, JR. You know that the referee's help plan doesn't include vision. So, how do you think this one's going to turn out, JR?
Honestly, King, I have absolutely no idea. Anything can happen here in the WWE.
But you've got to have a guess, right?
I might, but I'd rather keep it to myself if it's all the same to you, King. I tell you, King, I've got no earthly idea how these superstars can maintain this intensity week after week after week.
It's not easy, JR. There's no off-season. It's not like you've got 6 months to recover after WrestleMania.
That's for damn sure. And that's why I don't think there can be any doubt in anyone's mind that the superstars of the WWE are the greatest athletes in the world.
Wow! Listen to these fans, JR!
You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all the people some of the time, but there's no fooling the WWE fans at all.
I almost feel bad for Taz and Michael Cole. They never get to call matches as good as this.
SmackDown's had its fair share of exciting matchups, King, but I'm inclined to agree with you. There's nothing like watching the Raw superstars perform live.
And we're so lucky, JR. We get to see them every single week. This match has the potential to be an instant classic, and I think these fans are too stupid to realize it.
How can you say that, King? How can you insult the intelligence of these WWE fans?
Well, I heard that we gave them an IQ test, and the results came back negative.
Folks, I've got to apologize to the King here tonight. He must have gotten up on the wrong side of somebody else's bed this morning.
Let me tell you, JR, you won't see action like this anywhere except on Raw.
That's for sure, King. There's not another brand of sports entertainment out there that can compare with Raw.
Now, if only we could get that through Michael Cole and Taz's hands, then they'd stop running their mouths on SmackDown.
What an incredible performance by these phenomenal superstars.
Did you expect anything less, JR? I mean, look who's in the ring right now.
No, I didn't, King. I had high expectations, and I'm happy to say that this match has exceeded them all.
These superstars are beating the heck out of each other, and this crowd can't get enough of it.
It's what they paid to see, King, and they're getting their money's worth tonight.
They sure are, JR. There's no question these superstars are earning their paychecks.
It looks like they've decided to slow the match down a bit here.
And this could be a big mistake, JR. You don't ever want to give an opponent time to recover.
No, but you're not going to do yourself much good in the match if you let yourself get bone tired either.
I think these superstars are getting some feedback from the crowd, JR.
Nothing wrong with that, King. That's what we like to hear.
I talked to these superstars backstage before the match, and I don't think I've ever seen competitors so ready to get it on.
And that's coming through loud and clear here tonight in this match. They're not taking it easy on each other either.
It's been said a million times, but I'll say it again. This isn't ballet. Ruthless aggression is the name of the game.
Straddling that ring rope has got to be just about the most uncomfortable thing a human being can endure.
No kidding, JR. That's worse than an all-day donkey ride.
I'm not so sure this one's about winning or losing anymore. I think it's become more personal than that.
Of course it's personal, JR. Anytime you step into the ring with someone who wants to beat you down in order to win the match, it's personal.
I guess I can't argue with that, King. I just wonder if they'll be able to settle their differences in this match, or if it's going to wind up bigger than that.
Oh boy, these fans have got something on their minds, JR.
Well, they paid for their tickets, King, and they've got a right to say whatever they want. Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact that Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, JR. There's not a superstar on the Smackdown roster who could hold a candle to Raw's finest.
I wouldn't go that far, King. There are quite a few Smackdown superstars who I'd love to have on there.
Oh, come on, JR. Why would you want to lower the tone of the Raw locker room by bringing in some losers from SmackDown?
King, next time you call The Undertaker, Kurt Angle, and Chris Benoit losers, make sure you give me some warning so I can get the hell out of here before you do it. I don't want to be any part of what that's going to get.
I think these superstars have a legitimate beef with each other, JR.
So do I, King. I'm not so sure their issues with each other are going to be solved with one match.
I hope not. I'd love to see them go at it again and again. You can look at any professional sport you want, JR, and you won't find more incredible athletes than the WWE superstars.
You're not wrong, King. They compete every week until they are physically incapable of continuing. There's no off-season in the WWE.
We're not talking about running a ball down the field or slapping a puck into a net. This is serious physical competition.
It sure is. The toughest athletes in the world are on the WWE roster, and that's a fact.
After some of the things we've seen in this ring, JR, I think we'd better remind the folks at home not to try this stuff themselves.
That's for damn sure, King. The WWE superstars are trained professionals.
And even they don't walk away from every match in the best shape.
They sure don't. We've seen more than one superstar taken out of here on a stretcher.
You think these fans have gotten their money's worth tonight, JR?
If they haven't yet, I'm sure they're going to by the end of this match.
Well, I don't say this too often, but I completely agree with you. These superstars are so unpredictable, this match could go another 30 seconds or 30 minutes.
I hope it's the latter, King. It wouldn't hurt my feelings one bit if this match lasted the rest of the night.
Looks like things have quieted down here a bit, JR.
Well, you can be certain that won't last long, King.
That's for sure. I haven't seen the superstar yet who goes down without a fight.
I'm sure these competitors have studied each other very carefully.
This match would be over by now if they hadn't, JR. You never get into the ring without doing your homework.
That would be a recipe for disaster for sure, King. These superstars are in terrific shape, and that comes as no surprise whatsoever.
No kidding. If you don't have that conditioning, you're not going to last long in a match.
You sure aren't, and that's only one of the many reasons I try to stay out of the ring whenever possible.
This has gone beyond just being a match, JR. I think these superstars genuinely hate each other.
There's no love lost between these competitors, that's for sure. If looks could kill, somebody would be pushing up daisies right now.
And you've got to admit, that makes for a much more interesting match, JR.
It sure does. But I just hope these superstars can settle their differences in the ring and leave it at that.
I wonder if SmackDown's going to have anything nearly this good next Friday.
I think we both know the answer to that one, King. How could they compete with a match like this?
I can't remember the last time I saw superstars this fired up. I don't think they've even considered the possibility that they might not win this thing.
There's an awful lot of pride on the line here, King. No one in that ring wants to have to go back to the locker room as a loser.
I think this one could go either way, JR.
It sure could. Until the referee calls for the bell, this is still anyone's match. Boy, what a match. I wouldn't even hazard a guess as to who's going to win this thing.
What? Have you got both your contacts in one eye, JR? It's been obvious to me since the start of the match.
Oh, really? Well then, why don't you just enlighten the rest of us, King?
No way. I can already tell this is going to be a great match, and I don't want to ruin the ending for you.
You're too kind, King. You're also full of horse manure, as far as I can tell.
I wonder how long these superstars will be able to keep this up.
They'll go as long as they need to, King. And if they can't, they won't be having their arms raised after the match. That's for damn sure.
I don't think that these superstars have even contemplated the fact that they might lose.
I'm sure they haven't. That's not the kind of attitude you come in with and expect to pick up the win.
You're right about that, JR. If you can't see yourself having your arm raised by the referee when it's over, don't bother showing up.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears have been shed in that very ring.
I think there's going to be a lot more shed here tonight.
No doubt about that, King. These superstars are going to leave it all in the ring. You can count on that.
I tell you, JR, this one has the potential to be a Match of the Year candidate.
No doubt about it, King. As far as I'm concerned, any WWE match has that potential. Everyone on the roster is an accomplished wrestler.
You think this is going to be a back-and-forth kind of match? Or do you think this is going to be pretty one-sided, JR?
I couldn't tell you, King. These superstars are so unpredictable that you can never tell how a match is going to go.
That was a long way to go for a simple, I don't know, JR. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, JR. I can't believe I actually get paid to do this job.
Well, don't let Mr. McMahon hear you say that, King, or you might wind up having to do it for free.
That's true. I don't want to say that Mr. McMahon's cheap, JR, but I really won't even tell him to do. I'd hate to be that referee, JR. Can you imagine having to tell one of these superstars no?
Boy, I think I've had nightmares about trying to do something like that, King.
These superstars are at the top of their game, JR. They make it look so easy.
They sure do. You almost forget about the years of training and sacrifice that went into their careers.
I feel so lucky that I'm actually getting to see these superstars wrestle each other.
Me too, King. This one has the potential to become an instant classic.
Man, is there even going to be anything left of these superstars by the time they're done?
Not if they have their way, King. Everything they came in here with tonight is going to be left in that ring, mark my words.
I hope these fans appreciate it, JR. These superstars are putting it all on the line for them right here tonight. What are they going to do next?
I couldn't even begin to guess, King. That's why they say anything can happen here in the WWE.
It's matches like this that make this the greatest job in the world, JR.
Absolutely, King. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
These superstars are going to tear each other apart.
That's exactly what the fans paid to see, King, and they're not going to go home disappointed.
I don't think anyone's walking away from this match unscathed.
No doubt about it, King. This one's going to be hell on the anatomy for sure.
CJR.
This is a risky move. It could prove to be disastrous.
I wonder how far these superstars are willing to go to get the win here tonight.
As far as it takes, King. We've seen them put their bodies on the line time and time again. And I'm sure tonight will be no different.
He might have gotten the pinfall, but no one walks away from a match like that unscathed.
Oh, you're right about that.
Here's your winner.
He'll be hurting for certain tomorrow.
But I'll tell you what,
Trish
JR,
Stratus.
getting the win takes a lot of the edge off of the pain.